Dragging my clubs. I was out 3 times last week or so.
Ready. Thanks.
Call the meeting to order. Here we have a meeting statement, please.
Adequate notice of the regular meeting was provided to the public in the press on January 19th, 2020. Sorry. Adequate notice of this regular meeting was provided to the public in the press on January 19th, 2025, and was posted at the municipal building in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-7.
Thank you. All the audience, please rise and join me in a pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Member Bucieri.
Here.
Councilmember Di Benedetto. Councilmember Higgins.
Here.
Councilmember Sparta.
Present.
Council President Rizzuto.
Here. Evening. We are going to have a presentation by the members of the MUA director and the head of the MUA. I'm pleased to ask them to give us their comments as to the past year's activities. This is required by the resolution that started the MUA, that it be provide the council with a written report and also an oral report.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Now.
I can't hear you.
I'm fine.
And I just did this.
That one's on.
So like you mentioned, we come here once a year to see if you run down of the things that have gone over in the past year. Last year, we came and presented to the council community funding project. That was really what we focused on last year. We answered a bunch of questions about EDU calculations, et cetera. This year, we are going to touch base again on that federal funding for the community project funding. We're further along now, so just keeping up on that and a couple of other things. I'm just going to jump right in. So in 2024, that was when the large part of the construction for pump station 2 was done. At the end of 2024, we had just about completed it. We just had one small checklist item that had to do with our sensophones, which monitors our everything, our pumps, our levels, et cetera. So that was just the one checklist item that hadn't gotten done by the end of 2024. It is complete now. So pump station 2 will be closed out with the New Jersey Infrastructure Bank. That's iBank. Anyone knows what that is, and we'll be permanently financing that when they go out to bonds, hopefully this fall, which usually they do it twice a year. Once it is permanently financed, we'll get a debt service schedule from iBank, and then that will be part of Mountain Creek's obligation to the township and the MUA on an annual basis. Just an update on Mountain Creek, they have been paying again on time in January every single year, so that's good. The financials for 2024, so the budget last year was $3.625 million. The MUA ended out with additional $250,000 added to their net position. They used an additional amount because of that and to anticipate in this year's budget as a revenue item. So the budget was up slightly, but we still kept rates at a 0% increase. 2024, there was a 1% increase, but for 2025, there's a 0% increase. The MUA is anticipating in 2025, the 55 building unit in Almeida to be completed. So for the 2026 budget, we're looking forward to add that additional 30 EDUs, it's about 33 EDUs to the budget to help with those numbers and hopefully maybe avoid another rate increase as well. Updates on the sewer service area mapping. So the engineer who's handling the sewer service area expansion for the township, and if anyone has questions, there's maps on the township website that has what the expanded area is, but I did provide them to council tonight, so it'll probably be in the minutes. That has been submitted to the county. We've answered all their comments so far, so we'll be touching base actually next week or later this week with the county to do a weekly update with them to find out where we are. The next steps with the sewer service area expansion approval would be a county meeting approval for their small advisory committee. And then that advisory committee advises the county commissioners to approve the updated sewer service area map, and then that would be sent to the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection, who would then give us the final approval process or final approval for the expanded sewer service area.
When is the small meeting?
The advisory committee meeting is the first week in June. So that's why we want to follow up with them. They've had as you know, they've had our application for a very long time.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the county had some staffing issues when we submitted our application. So it went probably about 5 or 6 months without really being in-depthly looked at. But we have been in contact with them. We did get back to their comments finally. We did update and address their comments in the past few weeks. So we're hoping that this can move along and be on the June meeting. That would be the goal.
Thank you. Me.
So the big one that I wanted to address tonight is again what we discussed last year was the updates on the community funding project. That's at almost 5 million that we received from Congress. So it's a long process because we're dealing with the feds, we're dealing with the EPA. So we did submit a categorical exclusion document to the EPA. That's just to ensure that we don't where the areas for new pipe are going in are not going to have detrimental environmental effects. So we had to do this document. We had our engineers prepare that and send that to them. I'm working with the engineers on the work plan and budget narrative to send over to the EPA as well. The EPA is actually very, very responsive in comparison to other organizations that I've dealt with. So that has been positive. So we're just working through that. There's just a lot of red tape because it's federal money. But once that goes through, we're looking forward to hopefully doing expanded bid specs, et cetera, this fall, hopefully going out to bid, if not in the fall, in the winter. We did provide in this document the 4 areas that we had agreement on. We had conversations between the MUA and the township, the mayor, council president was in that meeting that we had with our engineers to go over. I believe there were 7 or 8 locations that we were thinking of putting pipe in the ground. The idea here was really to connect properties, obviously that are already in the sewer service area. That was what the project money was for. It's not for expanded areas, but to meet areas where if it wasn't for federal funding, we wouldn't be able to afford it, right? So the idea is to use the federal funding for connections that are needed in order to expand, but it wouldn't really be feasible to do that if we didn't have those federal funds. So the 4 locations we chose, I'm not going to say what they are, but then I can give a kind of general idea of where they are to the public since I don't have in front of them. The first one was A2, so it is a location down Route 94 going north, past Vernon Crossing Road, up the hill towards Malibu Drive. Malibu Drive is part of the expanded sewer service area, which would be the DEP. That is the largest cost portion of this community funding project. It's $1.5 million. The reason for that is because it's going uphill. So we'll be gravity fed coming down, but obviously it's going uphill. It's going over a stream, so it's going to need a pump station, and we're going to have to connect it to the existing force main that's already on the river. So it would only provide 7 lateral connections, actual connections.
Sorry, 7?
7 lateral connections in town center. Again, it's more, that would not be feasible for one individual developer to do. That's a large amount of money. So the idea would be to use the federal funding for that. But it would, again, bring in those additional connections on Malibu Drive. I believe it's around between, I want to say 50 and 70 additional connections going up that road into that area. The second area is B, which is the area across, so on the opposite side of Route 94. So when the sewers were put in, only the one side of Route 94 was done, like by Dunkin' Donuts, H&H Plaza, Wings, right? So this would be to connect the opposite side of Route 94. So that estimate is $650,000. It would include 14 lateral connections on Route 94. And again, those are all in town center properties, and it would be necessary to do that expansion if the township decided to expand into the Gibeons and Odell neighborhood behind there. The next area, estimated construction cost is 900,000, that's E, again, that's in your packet. So that would be on Route 94, right adjacent to Mountain Creek. So if you're going south down 94, it's right about where Cumulus Nimbus Drive, that development is, up towards Mountain Creek. So that would be $900,000. So that connection is needed for any redevelopment that's done in Northwoods, as well as the residential area of Cumulus and Nimbus. Those are also in the expanded sewer service areas with the DEP. And then the final area, the estimated construction cost is $1.4 million. That's area G, and that's located along the section of Route 94 in town center. So it runs basically from Mott Baldwin Drive just down the road a little bit. It doesn't fully connect to Nimbus and Cumulus. That is needed in order to do any connections in the Mott Baldwin area. And that would allow for 36 lateral connections in that area, but along 94, it would include 12 lateral connections and a pump station to pump back to pump station 1. If there's any questions, someone would like.
Members of the council have any questions?
No.
Are we in a position to state, or are you in a position to state that all of the money that has been received from grants with time-sensitive placements has been met in terms of assigning areas that are going to be developed or, included in the construction area?
Yep.
Okay. So we're on schedules, no problem. And I know another issue that I frequently hear comments about, we as part of the township, that the MUA stands on its own 2 feet. It operates with no assists from the council or, the township and or any outside funding.
You mean financially? Yep, financially, that's correct.
Okay, so you're financially independent. Great, sounds good. What do we look like in terms of total number of hookups?
Are you talking about currently or for?
Currently.
So currently we have about 1,700 connections. Future DEP expanded area, it's about another 800 plus. Those are just connections, so that includes properties that would be residential or developed town center or whatever that could be.
Okay.
Various uses.
How many employees are in the MUA?
5.
5, full-time?
No.
How many full-time, how many part-time?
There's 1 full-time employee.
1 full-time? Okay. And then just a quick description, what's an average day like? What goes on, what duties?
For the 1 full-time employee.
1 full-time,
So he's a sewer repairer, so that would be the title. And the job duties include visiting all the pump stations, all the lift stations, what is that? Not sifting, what am I trying to say? There's some sludge scooping that goes on.
Skimming?
Skimming, thank you, I couldn't think of the word.
The free removal.
Yes.
There's definitely free removal.
A lot of that, checking the pumps, making sure the pumps are functioning, checking numbers on the system. They also, address any issues, if there's any alarms that go off on the sensophones, they're gonna address those things first.
good, thank you.
The Northwoods property, is that part of the expansion or is that automatically because it's redevelopment?
That's I believe that's in Mountain Creek's
It's
area.
in Mountain Creek's area already?
I'm not sure though, I would have to check to see, because I think it's in a development zone, I think they would do a redevelopment agreement, but I'm not sure if that would be the direction that Mountain Creek would go or not.
Ms. Bouchier? You good? Okay. Thank you very much. Pleasure to hear from you and good news as always Appreciate it.
It'll be great when the county says go ahead.
I'm with
Yeah.
you on that.
Yep.
Even better when the state says,
Mhm.
go ahead.
Thank you.
See you next year.
Next item on the agenda is a discussion item. This was,
Mayor's County.
They may, yeah, mayor's council.
no, it's
Oh.
discussion item. This is, this was brought about by an issue that, failed on a council vote the last meeting regarding a position. That position was designated, was going to be in addition to a union, recognition. The individual, who normally would have been, discussed under a rice notice, has requested that this particular, issue be discussed in public. And actually, we're willing to accommodate that request. I think the mayor has some comments on that. You'd like to proceed?
Thank you, Council President. Yeah, I was a little kind of shocked about the vote that happened last week. And when, like I said, when you see everything that goes on downstairs, and you see how successful our senior center is, it's not because of money or anything. It really is. It's about the leadership. Jane is somebody who really brings it to the table, and as you can see from this audience here, they're all here in support for her. This is not just to give out food. The things that she does day to day, just some of her responsibilities. She oversees daily functions of the Vernon Senior Center, county nutrition site, ensuring all rules, regulations, guidelines, and best practices are adhered to for Vernon Township, Sussex County Department of Health, Sussex County Division of Senior Services, and the state of New Jersey. Supervise senior center staff and kitchen staff, maintain weekly schedule of staff to ensure proper, I mean, this is also part of what Michelle does as well, with some of the managing part of it. But it includes the nutrition site lunch program, donations, balance and submit monthly finance reports. It maintains a list of insurance certificates for the organizations using any township facilities, assists recreation department as needed, oversees community garden members, and liaison to the garden committee, liaison for the senior advisory board, receipt and recordable monies for recreation senior. Okay, I'm sorry. And then just some of the other, just to add on some of the other things that she does day to day. If you have ever come down to the senior center, you'll see she's nonstop. She runs circles. She's a little older than me, but she'll run circles around me as well. She's highly respected in Vernon Township. She's highly respected in the seniors. Michelle came to me probably, I think it was several months ago, raised a concern about Jane's salary, which was grossly underpaid. Like I said, everything is always by a case situation. Not every employee, and there's been employees that have been turned down, but not every employee gets that increase above what. Well, some of them are obviously it's contractual, but certain other ones you can make adjustments based on what they bring to the table and what they do day to day. And Jane was one of them. Jane, let me explain about some of our, and I have her review here. It was done in January 8th, 2025. Jane is not a marginal performance. She's not effective. she's rated as outstanding, which is the top. Now, this didn't happen last week. This is actually on January 8th. Her performance, it shows in the senior center. It shows with the people that show up. I just need the seniors to step it up a little bit with the Olympics this year. What do you say, guys? I'll be there watching you bring these guys on. So it took second last year. Yeah. But anyway, it really shows in her work. I don't know what happened back in 2017, why she wasn't put into the union. Guys, I'm not big on unions, but this is something that we're not gonna have no choice. It's gonna happen, whether we like it or not. Like I said, I'm not sitting here saying I'm pro-union, and I'm not. But let me make that clear. But she should have the right. I don't see how, she's not a department head. I don't see how she could be denied being in that union. It is my highly recommendation that you pass this through. I don't ask, I've always been honest, always been straight with you guys. I see Howie back there, he'll tell you, I come over and I kick the tires. I look to save a dollar everywhere possible. And this is something that we do not want to skimp on. And I think she's worth every dollar. Truly is. So I don't know if you have anything you want to add, if the council has anything they want to discuss. Like I said, this is something that definitely, like I said, I don't know why she wasn't put in union. I can throw the Shortway administration on the bus if I want, but it doesn't solve anything. Here we are now, right? This is something that was, it raised the flag. It's something that I have to deal with, like other issues as well. So I always say it's the problems of the past that affect us today, and apparently it's causing a slight bit of an issue. And I fear that the morale is lowered I think this affected the morale a little bit, and I'm hoping that we can change that and continue on being a successful senior center. And we have been, and we are the largest municipality in Sussex County, and we lead in that responsibility, and we are known for having one of the greatest senior centers, and we definitely, I want to say it's number one, right? It has one. We are number one, but we do, and that's all I have. If anyone has anything else they want to.
Could we make a comment from here?
Not yet.
Yes.
Not yet.
No.
Not yet. No.
This is a hearing that normally would have been handled in private at the request of the employee. It's being done in public, but it's basically, there's no public comment on it.
Tina, do you want to add
Does
something?
the council have
If
any
you have anything, what did I say it all?
questions?
Yeah, I'll make a comment. I'm one who voted against it. And the whole point of voting against it has been missed. You're wrong, Mr. Mayor. I didn't vote no because of the lady that has this job. I think we met probably one time 20 years ago when my wife was on the ambulance squad somehow. That was it. And it was a great impression then. I see a lot of people who are here. I'm a senior myself. I'm 77 years old, and I get it. This has nothing to do with the performance, with the needs, with the camaraderie. It has to do with the process and the procedure of a union and a non-union person becoming a union employee at the will of a whim. That's what it's about. And when I asked the question, why was this on the agenda? Because the union wants it on the agenda. Well, good for the union. It doesn't make sense to me as a person a supervisor. If they're a supervisor, then they're not eligible to be in the union. If they're eligible to be in the union at a whim, and somebody says, I want to join the union and I get a nice raise, then that's due to the fact that a contract was agreed to last year between the municipality and the union that eliminated various steps, that when a person joins a union, They start at step 1, 2, 3, 4, and go to wherever the maximum is. Like on the school board, there's 15-year steps. It used to be 20, it's now 15. I believe in our police department, you hit the top at 5. So in the UAW, it's now 5. So it's a transfer from a current non-union position to a union position is going to eliminate 3 steps because the people who negotiated the contract in the town said that we can't retain people and we can't hire new people. That was the rationale of eliminating these various steps. And so that move created a position where you can jump right into step 4, I believe it is. So that's why I voted no. Not because the person, I understand, I've heard all good things, and it has nothing to do with the person or the services that you're getting. It has to do with principle and procedure. And I like to stand on that. And even on the normal events that take place here, I'm the guy who's asking a lot of questions because it's my 2nd year on the board now. And I really don't understand a lot of the way things get done. They're outside of a common sense, normally accepted method. And that's why I ask a lot of questions. So I'm standing on principle on what I just explained, as opposed to the person. I love the program. I hear all good things. The program's not going to change, but something has to change between, the mentality of people that run the town and a union. And if I lose, I lose. That's okay. And I've heard people state here on the council and our attorney that various decisions might be made beyond my vote. But I'll let them go. And we'll go forward and we'll get that ruling. If the ruling is against my no vote, so be it. And the promotion or the change to the union will take place. That could happen. But there's a right and wrong way in my mind. That's why I was elected, not up here to rubber stamp anything. And I know you're disappointed. You all came out tonight. But, government is government, and I do have the right. And there was another person who voted no. They're just not here tonight. That was my rationale. And by the mayor asking me, hey, come on down and see what this person does every day, it has nothing to do with anything. It's just not about the person or their procedure. It's about what I just explained.
That issue can be addressed with the union, and we can have that, but let's not penalize the employee because
Nobody's penalizing. There's nobody penalizing. If you thought that this employee was the best employee in the entire town, you would have taken all the money and said, here's your raise. You would have given a maximum plus more. And you probably did the right thing by hopefully gave her a raise when she was up for review. But that has totally nothing to do with the union, non-union contract, and the principle I'm standing on.
it said, Bill, we are a civil service municipality. She's, like I said, whether we could sit here and debate about the process and the union and the problem. We can debate that all day. In the end, she's a civil service employee. She has that right to be in the union. And without it going into litigation, because that's where it will end up, it's gonna cost the township a lot more money. Like I said, it'll bring the morale down, and I think it's something to avoid, and it's my recommendation that she enters into the union as discussed. And you mentioned that you are the voice of the people. There's your voice. Please act accordingly. Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to comment?
I do have a quick comment. I did vote to support the resolution. However, I did make some comments about the union expanding, and I think as part of the governing body, the relationship between administration and the governing body and the union should always be respectful, but slightly adversarial, because we both are coming from different points of view when issues like this come up. And that's what we're supposed to do, where we both are tasked with different responsibilities. The union is tasked with ensuring that their members get the best pay possible, work conditions, benefits, time off, things like that. The administration, the council, tasked with managing a budget, representing the taxpayer. So I would never consider being an enemy of the union, but definitely respectfully adversarial. And that's how they would probably view us too. And I think that's fair. And we respect our employees always. This particular position, for whatever reason, was not in there. We did make some comments about adding it. Like it or not, as a steward of the township's budget, and not considering the path and the legal costs that voting this down would represent to our taxpayers, I think is short-sighted. Again, no one is discounting this employee's hard work and dedication. I've witnessed it myself many times, or the value of her work. You're probably very accurate that she was underpaid. I don't know exactly the salary. I tried not to focus on that. But as stewards of our budget and looking at potential litigation and the costs there, I think that's important to consider. Because if you're representing the taxpayer, that's also representing the taxpayer. And I understand not liking that bill, but that's how it is. So by not supporting this resolution and not supporting this change and this position being added to the union, we will be costing our taxpayers more because the change will occur. It will happen to some retroactive date. I don't know what. That will be decided by the court. And then we will also have legal fees. So we're really not being the best steward of the finances if we don't approve that. And those are my comments.
There was a statement made previously by the mayor that, I think it was by the mayor, but managers are excluded from the union contract. Managers are under the auspices of the mayor's office. And the title of this position is site manager. So that would be a question to ask. Is this a management position? Apparently it is.
If you would look in the civil service description, I wouldn't necessarily consider it a management position. There's also very clear, as far as going into union and not going into union, the way I've always had it explained is that a manager has the ability to have input in the hiring and firing of an employee. They also have like confidential information, which would usually relate to that sort of job performance appraisals of other employees. And this employee does not have that.
She's managing the facility, not the.
Yes, correct. And the shared service agreement that the township has with the county to provide services to the seniors as a nutrition site requires that position to be held.
She is not a noted department head.
Correct.
Correct. And we received $27,000 a year from the county for the program.
She started this position almost 13 years ago as a part-time person, and that's why she wasn't in the union back then. So when she was rolled over to a full-time position in that, it should have been included all those years back in the actual contract, and it never was. So last year, when they were going through the new contract, her position wasn't brought up at that point until actually, unfortunately, after the contract was signed and agreed upon. And that's when it was brought up that she should have been put in there. Now, if when we were going through that contract and the union realized that that position should have been in there all those time, it would have been placed into the contract when we were negotiating for it. Obviously, it didn't happen. And then it was brought to the attention with her salary actually being less than new people coming in and being hired at a lower, at a lower step than she actually is. So adding her into the contract was part of getting her to where she should be and being a part of the union, which she should have been several years ago when she went from part-time to full-time.
Can I also, I don't want to correct you, but I just want to clarify something because it was mentioned earlier by Councilman Higgins. So it's not a step that she's going to, right? It's a level. So I think there's a lot of misunderstanding and a lot of miscommunication about the union contract and how it works as far as levels and steps. So in this resolution, it says level 4. That is not a step 4. That is a level 4. So the levels, each level has specific job titles that are civil service titles. And those were established obviously a very long time ago before any of us here, when the union was brought here. In comparison, what administration did was they looked at the job duties of this nutrition site manager and sat down with the union and negotiated on what that level would be in comparison to what the other job titles are in the other levels are. So you had mentioned earlier about a level 1, and removing steps from level 1, that has absolutely no effect on this job title, because this is a level 4. So there's still 8 steps in the level 4. I just want to be clear, it's not a step, it's a level.
What's the difference if this discussion took place before the new contract was agreed upon? What would the difference be?
We answered this
at
at the last meeting and there's no difference. It would still be a level 4.
At the same amount of money?
The levels changed when the contract was approved.
That's what.
No, you're talking about steps. You're talking about steps.
I'm asking.
And you're misunderstanding and misrepresenting.
Please answer the question. The whole contract, new contract. What would the difference be if it was under the old versus the new?
I'm trying to remember what the actual percentage was between. I would have to look at the actual salary guide, but it's just the difference between a level 4 salary guide and a level 4 salary guide between 2024 and 2025.
Is it just the percentage of the increase?
Yeah, so let's say it was 3%. I don't know I don't remember what that was, but that would be what the increase was between a level 4 and a level 4.
So it's coincidence that the person was in this job for all these years and it was a revelation that the union is there, should have always been in the union, and it just happened that it was now at this time. That's your explanation.
Yes.
Okay, that's your explanation.
Yes, that was the letter from the.
No, I've asked other questions, because there's more to this than that. Going back 2 months ago, I asked a question about people, because Tina just said civil service. I asked a question about 3 people, 1 part-time transfer, other people who were hired, where they posted as civil service. The answer was, and you all looked at each other, and the answer was yes. Well, a resident offered that answer. And the answer came from Marcy, and that person in the public said, I want you to be aware that I asked this question, whether they ever posted. And the answer came back, over the last year, the only civil service postings that were done by this municipality was the police department. There were no other civil service. So what am I getting when I ask an answer or a question?
So like we explained before, the last time you asked this, about it being posted or not, we follow civil service guidelines and we comply with what civil service requires us to comply with. So what happens is, for example, I'm just going to use the zoning officer as an example because we did a temporary or an appointment for that, right? So the way it works is we would do a provisional appointment for that position or a provisional promotion. However, civil service sees that there's different things that different levels. I don't really know how else to explain it. In civil service. So when you do that, it triggers civil service to send us a posting to post. Now that posting could be open to everybody in the state of New Jersey. It could be who could qualify for that. It could be open to just people that are in this building. It depends on what type of position it is, what class code it is, the job duties of that position, but that's all in line with civil service. So everything has been sent to civil service. We can't control that it might take civil service 6 months to send us a posting. But when we get that posting, it is posted in compliance with civil service guidelines. We can't post something without them sending us a posting to be posted.
So it's possible.
So basically what.
Hire someone because you know it's going to take 5 or 6 months without going through the civil service.
That's not true.
That's basically
That's not
the same.
We still have to follow civil service guidelines, so it would be an appointment in civil service provisional. And then they would contact administration with a posting to be posted, and that individual has to apply for that job. Even if they're sitting in a provisional position, they still have to apply for that job. During that posted period, they might have to have a test for it, they might have to show all their qualifications and standard that they can meet all the educational requirements or whatever that is for that posting. And then they would be whatever that goes, I don't know if it's like an award or if it's like a hiring, and then they move from provisional to permanent position.
So why would the answer to the Oprah request be there were no postings?
Because we didn't get it from civil service yet. We're waiting on civil service. We can't force civil service to give us a posting as soon as we request it. We request it, then they agree to it, and then they send it to us whenever they want to. We've been waiting since the middle of March for this other posting, and we can't post it because we have not received it from civil service yet.
The Oprah request is, there were none for a year, not for 2 months, for a year.
For a year. Those positions were just, they're not old positions.
I don't think that Oprah request was for a year.
There were 12 postings that I answered that Oprah request. So
So during the year, there were 12
There were 12
postings.
the dates of the Oprah request, whatever the dates were from here to here, it was answered.
You had 12
I
postings.
gave what I could give, yeah.
So it wasn't just one posting, there were 12 postings.
There were about 12 of them. Yeah.
So the resident told me that the answer they got from Marcy was that there were no civil service postings for the prior year except for the police department.
That was not the answer to that Oprah request, and I can send it to you. So whoever told you that is not telling you correctly.
Okay,
Yeah, like,
okay, we'll research that out.
No, there was no answer, no.
Okay, on
in that
Oprah, the Oprah.
request At all. I gave the documents that were requested that I could give.
So, are you done, Bill?
I'm done.
What was her salary before all this came up?
it was somewhere around 40,000, very low in the 40s.
It was 40,000.
And what would it be under the new contract? Or under the union?
A level 4 starts at around 50. A level 4 starts at around 50.
So, $8,000 to $10,000 difference.
It's about 10, yeah.
So some of this is being brought about with the contract with the county, correct? Because of the,
The titles required for the shared service.
right, so we have a project ceiling cost of 27,700 with the county on it. That's what they reimburse us for. And on page 9, item 3, we cannot hereby establish a shall only increase through mutual agreement of the governing bodies with 30-day written notice provided by Sussex to Vernon for the time period within which 75% of the project ceiling cost is reached. Otherwise, Sussex has the option to terminate upon 30-day written notice. So we can't reach that 75% until September, correct? Because it's $2,300 a month times 75% is end of September. Is there any way that Sussex can pick up that difference between her old salary and under the contract?
There's nothing that prevents the township from asking for that, but I mean, that would be up to the county and what they budgeted for.
Because I think for me, that's some of this, right? This is driven by an agreement that we have with the county. The county is reimbursing us for, probably 3/4 of her salary, basically, I would think, right? Because that 27,700 is excluding of food costs and everything, right? It's basically a reimbursement of her time for that. So if we use that, can't we go back to the county and say, hey, have, a situation that popped up here that's now, the burden of more of the burden of this program is being put on our taxpayers in the town. Can we ask you to pick up 75% of the increase of her salary?
Yeah, I think
Isn't that a conversation worth having, I think?
I think that's a really good point. I think that's something that you could definitely do. Obviously, it depends on the county agreeing, but yeah, I think that's a really good point.
I mean, is there any way that we can, get a feel from them if that's something they're willing to do before we go ahead and move forward with any other discussions or any other lawsuits or whatever it may be.
You can reach out to them and say, you know,
Where's Alan?
what?
Oh, yeah, Alan.
I said, where's Alan?
Must have gotten notice of this.
Alan.
Wait, is he walking in the door again?
That's not Alan.
I would at least appreciate a little bit of that angle first before we, have any other type of solution to this, so. How many other municipalities have this program in their town?
I know of two others in Sussex County,
What's the other one?
Hapakong and Franklin, right?
Okay,
Vernon's the largest.
The nutrition site, though, isn't just her only job.
no, but
I mean-
they're not also picking up 100% of her salary. That's why I asked the question, how much does she make? We're getting reimbursed this, we have a percentage that we are being reimbursed of her salary. Now we're having an increase in her salary. It only seems right that the county should pick up a portion of that since,
It's reasonable too. I mean, it's been the same amount for, I don't even know how long,
At least 4 years now.
longer than that.
Yeah.
It's been the same amount since I've been here, so
do we know the agreements that they have with Franklin and or Hopakon as to how much they get reimbursed for what they're doing? I mean, I would get that agreement as well and see if they're on par with what we're getting reimbursed as well, and it's a negotiation at this point in my book.
Well, for money wise, right? But it still leaves us with her going in the union or not, right?
Okay, but that's an unforeseen circumstance, Anthony, right? When this agreement was reached in January 1st of 2025, right? This wasn't an issue, right? And I think, town all along has been accepting this money based on, I would hope when this was talked about, it was also talked about how much of an expense it is for the overall program, right? And I know Ms. Downey just said that this has been about the same amount for the last 3 or 4 years. If we talk about every budget season, how much our inflation's going up, I would tend to think that this should go up as well. Granted, it's still our taxpayer money that's going through the county and coming back to here. I get that. But when we're, have to pay somebody additional monies for an unforeseen circumstance that wouldn't exist on January 1st, that's falling then on the taxpayers of just Vernon. And it's obviously a program that's subsidized by the county. And those subsidies should fluctuate when unforeseen circumstances pop up also. So that's all I'm asking.
Any other comments?
I think Brad has a good point. So us to vote on another resolution tonight, Pat?
No, the only way we could do this is if there was a motion to reconsider the matter, and that would have to be made by one of the.
Somebody who
people
voted no.
So doesn't a motion to reconsider have to be done in the same meeting that it was turned down at?
No, you can do it later.
You could always bring another resolution.
Or bring it up in a
Bring-
slightly
yeah.
different way.
Yeah, it has to be brought up in a different way because otherwise,
You just keep revoting on the same.
well, you can wait for the numbers that are in your favor.
Yeah.
Reconsider it, and that's why I think, I could be mistaken, but I think motion reconsiders have to be done in the same meeting.
I believe you're right. I read about that.
Corrected.
So the only way to bring this resolution back again is to have some change
Have
or have it,
Material change.
have a material change.
Yep.
Could we, Brad's point about trying to get an increase from the county, could that be part of a new resolution?
But you can always bring a resolution up again
Mhm.
based upon the new information. I think you have more information tonight than you had before.
And that would suffice.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good discussion.
I think that I think if we go ahead and do something like that, I think there'll be another year, I think, right? Before they renegotiate another shared service agreement with us, right?
We have
Well, no.
we have a sidebar agreement with our shared service agreement?
So they've budgeted, as your CFO mentioned, for 2025. So maybe you could get the increase in 2026.
It would cover the difference. Future budget.
I think it's good for the council to know either way.
What was that? No.
I think it's good for the council to know either way,
Yeah,
you know, if
Yep.
the county would consider that. I mean, it has been the same for a long time, so.
Thank you. Mayor's comments?
Thank you, Council President. Let me begin by saying Happy Mother's Day to all the moms. This Mother's Day was a little different for me. It was a little weird. I had to wish my daughter a Happy Mother's Day. So it felt weird, but proud. But last week we baptized my grandson, Holy Council Lutheran Church in Vernon. And since we're on the religious topic, I just want to say to my Catholic friends and family, congratulations on your new American Pope, huh? As a Lutheran, we don't follow the Pope. However, I always admired the Pope and the role that he has in this world. I also would like to call I would put into the record 3 new applicants for the Beautification Committee. And their names are Kimberly Russo, Nicole Albert, and Claudine Gillian. This week, May 14th, Beautification will be swearing in all 8 members. So I think we can have 9 members. So if anybody join, please application in. If you have noticed on 5/15, we started planting the trees. And hopefully another week or 2, we can start getting all the flowers that we've brought on, trying to get all those donations for the planters. So hopefully we'll get all those filled within the next 2 weeks. And also the Hometown Heroes banners. I don't know if anyone took notice. If you drive down Church Street, you'll see Hometown Heroes. And so that's been a long time. That's been long overdue. I do want to thank Tina and thank Michelle for driving that forward. And I know you guys put the legwork in, literally. You guys actually did the walk and counted polls and took information down and worked with JCP&L and Warwick Valley Telephone and just to try to get the approvals. So I know it was a lot, and thank you guys for getting that done. And we received a $1,200 donation, so that helped reduce the price down. That was $1,250 from Sussex Cultivation, so that helped reduce the cost of the poles. The poles were $30 a piece, so then we were able to get the banners down to about $125 a banner. So. Also, I'm happy to report that we just won a case with the affordable housing. Originally, the state, they wanted us to have over 304 housing units, and Jessica Caldwell, who is our planner, took a hard look at the properties, the numbers, and we came out with 194 with 33, I guess due today, like they want those 33 as soon as possible, whatever that could be. The state took I think it's about 100 municipalities to court. And I have to say, we won, and the number still remains at 194. I know the last council meeting, we talked about going out for RFPs for our professionals. And, one of the things that when the reason why we use a lot of these professionals, because they know the town, they know the land, they know the area. So it's very hard. I mean, could you go out and maybe save a buck or two? Sure, probably. But I think ultimately you'll end up spending more money. This comes with experience. I mean, just with this, with Jessica Caldwell, our planner. I mean, again, she got those numbers reduced and those numbers were accurate. That's a very difficult task to do. She was able to get that done. So again, like I said, it's these professionals that really, you get what you pay for. You really do. And you know, we've found like service, like for an example, the phone and the internet, right? We looked at that. We found a much better deal, and we did it. We make changes where we can, without affecting the services or potential future costs, right? So that's some of the things that we did. But other than that, that is all I have to report.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah.
Public comments, may I have a motion to open the floor for public comments? Moved by Mrs.
Second.
Sparta, seconded by Mrs. Bucieri. Floor is open for comment from the public on any item on the agenda. Wish to address the council, please step forward. Give us your name.
Go to the second one. Thanks.
How are you? John Kosh, Fire Commissioner for the town of Vernon. There's a whole bunch of stuff on the two ordinance tonight for the fire service. I just want to take a minute to explain some of the needs. So starting in 2506. Under number A, or letter A, turnout gear, self-contained breathing apparatus. Those are things that are required to have a lifespan, not set by the town of Vernon, set by the OSHA. Some have 15 years on bottles, 10 years on turnout gear. We've worked with administration on getting down a number that we can put in each year so that we don't come a time when there's 200 air bottles needed or it said the turnout gear needed. We're staggering it and putting it through so it doesn't affect the budget as much. So those are pretty standard. They've been in the last, I think. Under letter C, the vehicles would be 4 new chief's vehicles for the fire chiefs. Our current ones are leased. Their lease term is ending. Part of the agreement when we got them was the leased new chief vehicles. The old ones would go back to the assistant chiefs. Part of the deputy chiefs, 2 of them, the current vehicles that we have are 2011 Ford Escapes. 2 of them have been redlined and are out of service. And there's only like 2 still going barely. The deputies, they respond to 300 plus calls a year in those vehicles. And I think I saw in here, Danelle had down the buyout for those, the current chief vehicles off of the lease was 42,000. So you're getting a vehicle, the current chief's ones for like $10,500, fully equipped with probably 30, I think most of them have 30 to 40,000 miles is all on them. So that worked out well on the lease. Where the main one here is under E, the acquisition of a new engine to be used by Highland Lakes Fire Department. That's been put in to replace a 2002 engine that the manufacturer went out of business. The parts are hard to come by and they really gouge you on the prices for the parts if you can even find them. And the main thing on that is the 4-year build time. So if we ordered that truck today, the new engine, it wouldn't be here for 4 years. So that'd be putting Highland Lakes Fire Department operating a 27-year-old first due engine. Which Danelle went over when I gave her the price. She thought I was joking with her. And we reached out to the manufacturer, multiple manufacturers, and they roughly figure a 3% per quarter increase is what the industry is going at. So on $1 million, it's 30 grand a quarter. Wow. So that adds up if we don't pass. Then you take the risk of how long any breakdowns we're gonna have on the old one, waiting 4 years. And we got fortunate to find a loaner one from Mawa on the tanker. And we got really fortunate to buy a used one, used mini pumper, which allowed us to staff Highland Lakes Fire Department with the loaner. And the last engine from Pocha is in McAfee while the tankers are out of service. I don't know if we can get lucky again on that. And I'm not sure. Yeah, if you're aware of the new building, as the building is growing in town, this 55 and over community right next door. When you have to charge the standpipes, you're gonna need 2 trucks for search and rescue on that. Then you need suppression, you have to charge the building. So that building there would use every piece of equipment the town of Vernon has, plus some, if there's, God forbid, a fire in there. And they're looking to make more of those buildings. So the need is gonna come along. I think that's pretty much all the items here, but I heard you say before the fall victim of previous councils, and it just happened from a study in 98. A lot of our equipment is from 98 to 2008, 1 year after another. And typically it's a 20-year replacement. That's been pushed out the window with lead times, and the fire service prioritized what's needed and what's not. So some of the older pieces that we don't use as much on first due are still in service, and we're prioritizing what we need to keep the budget down. And I think that's pretty much it. If anyone has any questions, or anyone can always call me anytime.
Yeah, just when it comes time to request equipment, is it done as a township? Is it done by individual fire departments? How do you guys?
It's done as fire chiefs present the budget at a meeting, the needs, and then we prioritize it. Then myself as the fire commissioner meets with administration to go over.
That includes all the departments.
Correct, because when I talk about the fire department, I talk about all 4 as one.
Okay.
Fire service.
Is there a master list of,
Correct. Yeah.
so you guys maintain a
Correct.
inventory of all?
Yep, and like I said, some pieces are still 1998, 1999, still in service that got skipped over. Like I said, the tankers are on order,
Right.
the one out of service.
Now, the other thing I just didn't quite understand when you were talking about the lease. You said you have a vehicle, the lease is up, you're gonna turn it in?
Correct. The lease, the current chief's vehicles are under the enterprise lease program.
Uh-huh.
And I think part of this money, you can buy that car out at the end of the lease.
Oh, so it's purchasing the current vehicle?
Correct.
Oh, okay. Because I know in the police department, we put in the budget leasing, right?
Replace them, yeah, so.
And you're rotating
Yeah,
that.
with these, the plan originally, was once these chief vehicles were done, they would just be sent down to the the deputy chiefs. And then we would just re-up for a new
Uh-huh.
set. So this is getting 4 vehicles that are worth far more than the 10,000 each. But their buyout is 10,005 each, basically. So it's getting 4 of those to move down.
So you get estimates currently by calling your sources who make fire equipment.
Yeah, they're all
They-
on a co-op.
They pretty much, yeah, you can.
We reached,
prices.
we reached out to another manufacturer, and they all say that engine is $1 million plus.
Yeah. So that's the budget number. If it comes in under, we save a few bucks. If it goes over, then it costs us a little bit more.
I'm pretty sure Danelle's not gonna let it go over.
It can't go.
You have to budget for this 3%
Now, you get the million if you order it, right? There's no increases going forward, correct?
Correct. The manufacturer that
Lock it in.
we've been buying through locks it in. They did this. The engine, last engine we got, they held their price. I know some other brands, I've heard other fire companies say that they get a bill for 70,000 more, take it or leave it. The increases, and knock on wood, the manufacturer we've picked holding their price, and we're trying to get it standardized so that parts and labor and then mechanics know about the engines, as well as if I come to a call and there's a Highland Lakes engine there, I'll know it's almost the same as our Pochak engine.
All right.
Everyone will know where to look for stuff and how to operate it.
Thank you.
John, thank you.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Thanks for, proactive and doing that.
For your service. Thank you.
I, Jane Damstra, Pleasant Valley Lake section of Vernon. I have a question for the council. I would like to preface the question though by stating that 95% of Vernon's municipal employees are also union members. Why is it that I am being singled out and denied my right to join the union when 95% of my colleagues have been able to exercise that right? No answer?
Well, that's really an issue with the administration. The council responded to when it was brought before them, and that's essentially is what happened. Hopefully, we'll be able to get some extra money if we can get some county participation.
But isn't everyone able to join a union? Or municipal employees? Has it come down to for the other 95% to an issue of money? Or is that a right that a civil service worker for Vernon has? Anybody advise me on that?
That'll be one of the topics that's discussed if it goes to litigation.
Okay, thank you for your time.
We'll let this go to litigation. Come on, guys. Hang on that.
I had a list of, my name is Krista Gary. I live in Vernon, New Jersey. I actually had a list of things that I wanted to talk about that Jane does at the senior center. But I'll just make this short that every senior who has ever attended the senior center would attest to the fact that Jane Donstra goes far beyond what the duties of her position call for. More than anything, Jane is a trusted confidant to all the seniors. She is loved by everyone. Without her, there would be no Vernon Senior Center. She has excellent leadership and communication skills, which are also very important as a nutrition site manager. I believe that since Jane has been a full-time employee for at least 5 years and has proven herself with her excellent work ethics, that she should be authorized to join the union. This would improve her employment position, which in the long run would benefit her, which I think she deserves. I really do. And I hope you agree with that and try to give her what she wants and what she really needs. And she's underpaid. I think that's terrible. $40,000 a year is nothing. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I want to say something. I'm not gonna stand here and
Excuse me
for your name.
Hey, give me your
Say
name.
your name, please.
My name is Frank Mascherone. I'm not gonna stand here and tell you about how great Jane is, because as the councilman has said, which he knows already, that she is more than well qualified for the job. My question is, or not a question, but a comment, and it doesn't require an answer. It doesn't mean anything. Just an old man who lived 94 years, and I respect the fact that you are a man who stands by principle and rules, I assume. But in 94 years, I found that principles change. They change constantly. Rules are broken. Everything happens. And this is now a position where you state that because of your principles, it's not a good thing. But it is a good thing because every rule and every principle has something that is missing, and other things take their place. I'm not a speaker. I don't know. I get a little nervous and I'm a little upset, but here's a person that is the epitome of the wrong thing happening to the right person. And only you, from what I understand, can't correct that.
Well,
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
He's our
Yeah,
attorney. He's on the
I don't
council.
vote.
He doesn't vote.
don't
This is
vote.
our attorney. The rest of us. There, Peter.
Hi, I'm Blessing Demuzio and I've only lived here 2 years. I've known Jane that whole 2 years. My question is, the very first thing you brought up was the union. So why is there not a union rep here? I've never met a union rep that didn't break their legs to try to sign somebody up, somebody new up into the union. So I'm thinking with all this conversation, there should have been somebody from the union here.
I'm gonna address that real quick. I did ask for the union, and I asked to stand down, that we can have, hopefully resolve this issue without going into litigation. I did, and I've worked. with
So you
Jane on
get what
this.
I'm saying?
Absolutely,
Okay.
I get it.
Thank you.
Good job.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jim Damstra. I'm Jane's husband. I don't know if any of you are free during the week. Anyone in the daytime? So you could mirror Jane and just see what she does at the senior center. And you're more than welcome to come to my house and see what happens after the fact when she gets home and still doing her job. Or a Sunday, you have a problem at the garden plots. Oh, late, we got to go figure it out, hon. Let's go. So that's a Sunday, a Saturday, Monday night. Value is what you have. Value costs money. We're talking a raise that is less than my taxes on my house per year in this town, which are going up, up, up. We all understand that. Everything else in life is too. Everybody deserves credit. Mayor said it best. Get what you pay for. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to address the council? Not, I'll ask for a motion to close the floor to the public. Moved by Mr. Higgins. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mrs. Bucieri. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Members of the council have received a copy of the bills list. Do you have any comments or questions on that? That'll be a record. Short as one. Seeing no questions? All members of the council have received a copy of the minutes of our regular meeting of April 28th, 2025 for approval. I have a motion to place them on the floor for consideration or
I'll make that motion.
motion made by Mrs. Bucieri. Is there a second? Second. Seconded by Mr. Higgins. Any changes in the minutes or requests for changes? Corrections?
Good.
Not? Roll call vote. please.
Councilmember Bouchier.
Yes.
Councilmember Higgins.
Yes.
Sparta.
Spain?
Yes.
Motion carries.
May I have a motion to, we have a minutes of February 10th, 2025, our regular meeting minutes. May I have a motion to place those on the floor?
We don't have it.
We did the minutes.
We did that?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Already did them.
An agenda now.
I know what happened there. I used to use the same paper.
Oh, okay.
No, it's okay. Don't worry about it. Consent agenda. If any member of the council has any requests to have any of these resolutions separated, please let me know at the end. I will do so. Resolution 25-136, approving a solicitor's permit. Direct Sales Marketing LLC. Resolution 25-137, approving a solicitor's permit. Direct Sales Marketing LLC. Resolution 25-138, approving solicitor's permit. Direct Sales Marketing LLC. Resolution 25-139, approving a charitable solicitor's permit, Ochuck Valley Fire Department Incorporated. Resolution 25-140, authorizing approval of Sussex County contribution to Vernon Emergency Medical Services, VEMS. Resolution 25-141, a resolution of the Township of Vernon, County of Sussex, State of New Jersey, authorizing the execution of a fire mutual aid agreement between the Township of Vernon and the McAfee Fire Department and the Township of Hardiston and Hardiston Fire Department. Resolution 25-142, a resolution of the Township of Vernon adopting 2025 County Hazard Mitigation Plan. Resolution 25-143, New Jersey Department of Community Affairs LEAP Challenge Grant Resolution FY 25. Can I have these voted on as is, or would somebody like to separate any? If not, may I have a to place these on the floor?
Moved.
Moved by Mr. Sparta. Is there a second?
Second,
Seconded by Mrs.
I
Gutierrez.
do have a question though.
Certainly.
The LEAP grant, what is that for?
That's for shared services for animal control. So the LEAP grant is, there's two different types of LEAP grants, but this would be for, our shared service with animal control.
So we'll get some type of grant towards our animal control.
$1,000, the application would be for an expansion at animal control.
Okay, which we've talked about, like, so this is for construction.
Yep, so, and just to let you know, there are similar resolutions that were sent down to the other 6 municipalities.
Okay, so we're gonna share, because we have shared services with them, this is technically for that. Gotcha. And the solicitor's permits, didn't we talk about maybe adjusting that, our ordinance for solicitation? Remember last time we had this come up?
We were trying to actually eliminate.
Eliminate it, yeah.
solicitors.
Do it because it would be eliminating a source of potential employment and
Why didn't we do it?
It's a,
I can't do
it
it.
would have been an issue.
It would have been an
Yeah.
issue. Okay, all right.
Yes,
Yeah, I mean, nobody likes getting their,
we
you know,
tried to.
okay,
I mean,
alrighty. I saw that and I was like, oh,
Isn't there a list that people can put their names on where they can't come and knock?
We have a list. It's mostly the private communities.
yeah.
So if there's a violation,
Then
then
they can call, yeah, which, and well, and what happens, I don't know what's happened with this particular company, but I have personally heard on more than one occasion, they start soliciting before we even approve these permits.
that would be a
And that's a
violation.
violation, but
Yes.
people have to call it in and it's
it's
troublesome,
cool.
yeah.
I actually did remove permits from one company
That one,
because of that.
right? Yeah, okay, that was like a few months, yeah,
Mhm.
last summer, last
Yep.
fall, okay. And then, I mean, do we track those companies and then say, hey, we're not gonna give you a permit again because you violated our ordinance?
I mean, they didn't apply.
They didn't
for that.
apply again, but if they do, would that
Mhm.
happen? Okay, all right, because yeah, if they're not gonna follow the
Yeah.
law,
And I
okay.
mean, the only way I would know that is somebody.
If someone calls in,
me,
yep.
Called it in.
Yep.
So.
And they don't even know though. A lot of people don't know that the permit wasn't approved because believe it or not, everyone in town is not watching these meetings.
It's true.
So they don't know.
It's true.
Okay, all right, that was all my comment. Thank you.
thank you.
Did we not have a mutual aid agreement with Hardison?
We do.
No, For the fire before?
Oh, for the fire.
Did we not have one before?
Was the mayor? The mayor, no?
He stepped out.
Did we have one previous to this?
No?
It just seems odd that we wouldn't.
Maybe it just left out McAfee Fire Department.
I think maybe,
But McAfee makes most sense.
We have one countywide, the town of Hardison is requesting a updated one,
Oh,
on their end. This McAfee Fire is going to be responding, mutually to
okay,
oh,
on all call basis.
Oh, okay.
Construction. They just wanted to clarify it more on their end. It's good for both, but properly.
Okay.
okay.
thank you.
All right, thank you.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Bushiari,
Yes.
Councilmember Higgins.
Yes.
Councilmember Sparta,
Yes.
Council President Rizzuto.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Moving to our ordinances, ordinance 25-06. It's a motion to introduce bond ordinance appropriating $3,492,500 and authorizing the issuance of $2,550,000 bonds or notes of the township for various improvements or purposes authorized to be undertaken by the Township of Vernon in the County of Sussex, New Jersey. May I have a motion to place this on the floor for an introduction?
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Mrs. Bucieri. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Higgins. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Bushiari.
Yes.
Councilmember Higgins.
Yes.
Councilmember Sparta,
Yes.
Council President Rizzuto.
Yes.
Motion carries.
A motion to introduce ordinance 25-07. Capital ordinance providing for various improvements by the Township of Vernon and the County of Sussex, New Jersey, appropriating therefore the sum of $265,000 and providing that such sum so appropriated shall be raised from the Capital Improvement Fund. May I have a motion to introduce this?
Moved.
Moved by Mr. Sparta. Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Bushiari.
Yes.
Councilmember Higgins.
Yes.
Members,
Yes.
President Rizzuto.
Yes. Thank you. Public comment? May I have a motion to open the floor for public comment on any item for a time limit of 5 minutes? Moved by Mr. Sparta. Is there?
Second.
Seconded by Mrs. Bucieri. Floor is open to comment on any item, whether it's on the agenda or not. Anyone wishing to come forward and address the council? Seeing no one come forward, may I have a motion to close the floor to the public? Moved by Mr. Sparta. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Higgins. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. A motion carries. Thank you. Council comments. Anyone wishing to make any comments?
Done.
You're done.
I'm good.
You're good?
I do have a quick comment to make regarding our discussion earlier. I think our senior program is very valuable. We have a lot of opportunities for different demographics in our town. We have fields, playgrounds for our children and young families. We have tree lighting ceremony, a menorah lighting ceremony. We have a parade. Most of these things focus on a younger demographic. Our senior center and the programs offered there focus on a really important demographic in our community. And I hope that program, I hope we can consider that resolution in perhaps a slightly adjusted form soon rather than later, and move forward with adjusting Ms. Damstra's salary.
Thank you. I echo the feelings of Council Vice President. We can find a way to come to an accommodation on this. I'm sure it would be appreciated by all of our seniors. Being a guy who's approaching the ripe age of 82, I'm happy that I have a daughter at home who's a great cook. And I have three grandsons, so I don't need to go, excuse me, looking for things to do. I've got plenty on my plate right there. And I wish I could get back to building some of my airplanes. But in fact, many of these people who attend the functions of the township and the daily activities in the council, in the senior citizen center, it's their way of meeting and seeing people and seeing old friends and making new friends. Their efforts should be encouraged, and I would hope that we can do it in a way that would not create any ill will. They're a group of people who tend to vote in a block, and because they have issues that seem to affect them more readily than others. And yet they've been very, very accommodative. I remember being on the Board of Education when we used to have to sell the budget. I don't know, did you have to sell the budget?
First few years I was on the board, I had to, yeah.
And you'd go out there and they were there and they were sticking up for the budget. They said, yeah, we need that school. And only the occasional individual would come in there and say, no, do we really need it? And how much is costing me and so forth. I know there are actions being contemplated in Trenton to freeze the taxes of senior citizens. I'm very, very happy about that. But we can't lose the faith of these individuals that they have given us. In terms of trying to coax a budget that is difficult at best at all, trying to find ways to save money there, when they continue to bear a significant part of the expenditure for that budget. So I'm hopeful we can do this. I look forward to the ability of trying to meet these accommodations and hopefully resolve this without any further issue. The end of May is coming up, and I see the members of our VFW on the road collecting for the poppies and for contributions, as well as the members for our EMS. And hope to see you there at the festivities for the Memorial Day celebration. Other than that,
I do have one more.
certainly, please.
I did go to the dedication up in Highland Lakes for the EMS center.
Almanza.
For Almanza, yeah. So, and the group there just did an excellent job.
Missed you.
Oh, did you just miss me? Yeah, they did an excellent job. So I just wanted to commend them on that. It was a real honor. His boys were there, and I know his one son and his wife and all the EMS volunteers. The facility looked great, and it's really state-of-the-art equipment and training for those volunteers that serve our community. So I just want to give them a kudos to working on that. It looks fantastic. And I just wanted to comment, Brad, I like your idea. I thank you for that suggestion on going back to the county. I think that's really a good idea. And I appreciate you bringing that to the table. Even if we don't get that in 2025, I still hope we can, move forward with that resolution. I do.
I have a comment also. Based on all the comments, my comment, with all due respect, you missed the whole point. There's nothing to do with the seniors. We love them. I'm one of them. They deserve whatever they get. She does a great job. For anybody to concentrate on that, you miss the point that that's not what this is all about. I explained what it was all about. It's about a union. It's about a person wanting to join. It's about we have the demands that person join. All of the above is what it was about, not about they're good people. We know that. It's a given. You gotta love them and they enjoy each other and they're very important people. And we got a great percentage of seniors in this town. I think it was 19%. You know, it's an older town. I get it. That's not what it's all about. So for anybody from the mayor to Natalie to you, Pat, you guys were talking about something that we all agree on. It's nothing to do with that. And so that's my point. That's the point of this whole thing.
I understand your point.
I think it's all of it. I think it encompasses all of it, though. I think it encompasses your point and our points. I think you have to look at it as a whole, not just one piece.
Thank you.
What's since it's Memorial Day, what's the date of our next meeting?
It's Thursday,
The 29th?
yes.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to put it in my calendar.
Oh, I think I have plans for that. Darn it.
Thank you. May I have a motion to adjourn the meeting? Moved by Mr. Higgins. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Sparta. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
Yeah. Memorial Day.
Oh.
I have plans. I have dinner with my girlfriend. My daughter's going to the prom. See if I can.